Hello and welcome to the kitchen. So this is Julia Wilkins inside the kitchen, and today we're going to be teaching how, or I should say I am going to be teaching how to make my banana bread. I found this recipe on the back of a sack of flour back in 1994, and for some reason just remembered it. And it's the easiest banana bread I've ever made. It has the best flavor for the amount of work that you're putting in. I have not tasted one that I like better. Sorry, everyone who's made me banana bread. I really like how simple it is and the flavor and how well it holds up, because I don't refrigerate my banana bread. Not that we have it long enough to refrigerate any leftovers, but I've never refrigerated it, and it usually lasts 3 days, no problem. 3 days is the max I've been able to keep it before it just disappears. I have a lot of kids, so I have 6 kids, and so banana bread doesn't last long, and this is what it's gonna look like when everyone else makes theirs. Hopefully. I can't promise anything. So first you want to start with your mixer, whatever that is. A while back, my son bought me a brand new mixer, and this is that mixer, and I love you forever for it, Junior. I've already mashed my bananas, and that's 3 bananas. Someone asked me, how many cups is that? And I was like, who measures that? I'm like, bananas come in whatever size they come. I'm not going to have mashed bananas sitting in the thing. It's just going to be super banana-y. Not that that's a word, but you get what I'm saying. And they're perfect when they look like this. So gorgeous. They're so sweet when they get brown like this, and they're not, I mean, like, you can go full on black, but that is an intense banana flavor. I just mashed it. I just put all 3 bananas in, and I mashed it with a whisk. And so it's a little clumpy, but who doesn't like bananas and banana bread? I mean, let's be real. So I have 1 cup of sugar, and don't try and come at me about this being a liquid measure. I don't care. That's what I got. We're gonna use what I got. And this is half cup Crisco. I like the butter flavor the best. You use what you want to use. And I know people say, hey, why don't you use one with butter? Why don't you just use butter? I'm like, because I make it with Crisco. It tastes great. My grandmother, my mother's mother is from Southern Texas. So we don't use oleo or Crisco as it's known. And you know, it wasn't until way later we got cows on the island, whatever. So, and then we have 2 eggs. I haven't whisked them at all. They're just eggs. Then I have 2 cups flour. Again, don't come at me. This is a regular mixing cup. So, and then a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of soda. There is no vanilla in it, and there is no milk or any extra anything. That's it. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items. That's it. If you're trying to make more than that, power to you. But this is my banana bread that I made for my kids. And since this channel really is just for my kids, so that they always have my recipe, hopefully, this is what it's going to be like. So I first start with the sugar and the shortening. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour that in, just like that. And so there's this neat little trick when you can't find your shloop shloop. Okay, Pampered Chef makes this shloop shloop. It's called a measure all cup. And I can't find mine. I let someone borrow it. I'm looking at you people. You know who you are. And I haven't gotten it back yet. So we're no shloop shloop cup. But the measure all cup is so great. Like if you do peanut butter cookies, if you do anything that is like a Crisco or peanut butter consistency, any of the butters, nut butters at all, even if you're just using like a Nutella, that is the one you want to use because it just pops it right out and goes straight in. So shout out to Pampered Chef for being my hero on that one. So I'm going to go ahead and cream the sugar and the shortening now. Edit that out. don't scrape down the sides a lot. I just scrape down the sides at least once or twice during the whole thing. And then just put it on the paddle, go back up, go back to it. So what you're doing when you do this, you're just going to make sure that the Crisco is fully incorporated into the sugar, so that, I don't know, it just tastes better when I do it this way. I've done it a couple different ways, and this is the way I like to do it. I'm sure that there's a scientific way, and Alton Brown could tell you, but I'm not as educated as he is when it comes to science. So here we are. So once that's all done, we're going to go ahead and, admittedly, sometimes, okay, when y'all aren't looking, I cream this a little bit longer. So then I just dump in the eggs. I usually do them one at a time, but because of the internet and having this go faster, I had to put them in a cup. So then the egg sugar and shortening will then cream together. And once it starts to really incorporate, then I'm going to drop it and I'm going to add the bananas. So we're almost there. So then the bananas in this. Now I can show you what this looks like. It's a kind of a mess. Let's go ahead and scrape it down a little bit. Oh, there's the Alexa. When you have a smart somebody in the house who has to have Alexas. Okay, so once that, if you hear the music, that's how I normally cook, is with music on. Music or a book. And today we're just listening to Pandora. And it's, well, right now it's Capena. If you don't know who Capena is, I'm so sorry for your life. All right, so this is what it looks like. All creamed up. A little bit chunky because I didn't scrape down the sides. You know, and you really don't have to. I just like doing it because I like it to be all incorporated. I don't always do it. It depends on this, you know, like how fast you're doing it or whatever. So then I'm going to go ahead and put the bananas in. I'm going to just dump them right in. Now this I normally do, you know, do. Yeah, I got sons, whatever. So dump that in. We're going to go ahead and mix that until the bananas are well incorporated into the mixture. Put that in the sink. Raise my bowl. And I'm doing most of the mixing just on half speed, you know, like instead of full 10 or full 10, I'm doing like it on a 4 or a 5 each time, just wherever I land when I pull the lever, you know. So once that, oh my gosh, this is when you really start to smell the banana. I mean, like, you smell it when you're mashing it, but when this thing starts mixing, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Such a beautiful smell. Okay, so now if you're feeling fancy, I don't hate people who do this step. I don't hate on you. I've done it several times. I'm just not doing it today. Where you where you will sift in the flour, salt, and soda. So I'm not doing it today just because of time constraints and, well, I don't want to. That's how wonderful this thing is. You don't have to if you don't want to. It does change a little bit about how fluffy it is. But again, if you add too much air, then it's going to make it dry. And that's not what you're shooting for when you want bread. You don't want dry bread. Who wants dry bread? So anyway, we'll put in the flour. We'll just pop that in real quick. Ooh, maybe real quick. Okay, all the flour needs to go in. Why is this thing hating on me? I don't know. Because today's the day. Today's the day that it decides to be difficult. So we're just going to use this beautiful, So remember how I was telling you in the very first video that I have a favorite whisk? My favorite whisk is the Pampered Chef whisk. My favorite spatulas are Pampered Chef spatulas. So I really do like Pampered Chef. That is gonna definitely come across. I don't have all of their. There was a time when I had all of their things, but I'm also a former military wife. My husband was in the Marine Corps for 20 years, a little over 20, and we moved around a lot. And one of the things that happens when you move around a lot is you lose a lot of your things. So you either lose it or you have to sell it because you gotta move when they tell you to move. There's no, hey, on your own time. And especially if you're moving overseas. We only moved overseas once and we loved it. And we made awesome friends there and we had the best time with those friends and we still keep in contact with them. Shout out to my Okinawa crew. Love you. Okay, so I went ahead and put in the flour, salt, and soda, and I'm going to go ahead and mix that now. You don't want to go too high when you're starting this because then it'll just become a flour mess, right? So you start slow and then you build up. Okay? And because I do have a KitchenAid, I can just pull a button. But you can do the same thing with the hand mixer. Just make sure your hand mixer has a really good motor. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Okay, so this is what it looks like. If you can see that, I think you can. I can see it. So that's what it looks like, and so this is where it gets a little funny. One of the things that I do, not everybody has to do, is I add chocolate chips to mine, and with the ones that I don't give to my kids, or should I say, to make sure that I get a piece of bread, I put in pecans. I started putting in pecans because my brother has a reaction on his tongue to walnuts. So pecans is what it ended up being because I love pecans. So pecans, wherever you're from. So we're gonna shoot from here. I'm gonna go ahead and add in, because this is just one batch of dough or batter. I'm just gonna add in like about 6 ounces of chocolate chips, and I use semi-sweet. Now I know there are some people out there who really love milk. Power to you. That's what I love about this, is you put in what you want. It's your creation. This is so versatile. It can do everything. So if you want to put in walnuts, if you want to put in raisins, if you want to put in whatever. I'm not with you with the raisins, but hey, that's you. Okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add in those chocolate chips now. Here we are with these chips. Okay, I freaking love these scissors. Now I don't have another pair of shears, but I've broken all the other ones. Sorry. And but these ones I've really cut through a lot of things with it. And I want you to know, every mother says they love their shears, but they don't love the shears like I love these shears. Just saying. All right, so I'm gonna put about half a bag, and this is a 12-ounce bag, so I'm just gonna eyeball it. There you go. I know some people care about being all super special about their stuff, but not me. I'm not the one. So one of the things when I'm doing banana bread is I make mini loaves so that I'm not cutting all of the bread at once. But I am usually making double or triple batches of batter, so that's not happening today. That's only one batch. Okay, so I'm just gonna stir it up because the kids are the ones who will probably eat this one. So just chocolate chips this time. Plus I'm making one to send to my son, Theuhema. Shout out to Theuhema on his mission.
#mission.
Out in Illinois. Iowa. But the mission's huge, so he's currently in Illinois. Anyway, so this is what it looks like with the chocolate chips in it. It's a very loose batter, like all fruit batters. They're going to be loose, not as thick as if you were making actual just like a white bread or a wheat bread or sourdough, that kind of thing, because there was no kneading involved. So I use parchment paper inside of my my bread pans. I don't grease them, but if you're going to grease them, make sure that you grease them with either Crisco or butter and then flour so that there's no sticking, okay? Because these things get thick. I have also used a bundt pan when I couldn't find my my bread pans, and I have used an angel food pan. It worked out both times. I'm telling you, the most versatile banana bread recipe I've ever worked with, and I will never use another. My aunt did tell me about another, but it's super fussy, and you know, like with the egg whites to full peak. I may try that at some point, but not today. Today we're about super easy, the one that my kids know and the one that they keep calling me about. Okay, so, and I will put up the actual measurements and everything again. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this batter sit for 30 minutes and just love on each other. Just really get in there and be together. Okay, so once it sits for 30 minutes, I'm going to put it in my prepared pan, which will be parchment paper inside a bread pan, and then I will cook it, or bake it, sorry. I will bake it at 425. Because I'm doing mini loaves, it will only be for 8 minutes. Depending on your oven, you're going to want to play around with this. If you're doing a full loaf, you want to do about 10 to 15. It's usually, for me, with my oven, it's usually about 13 because it runs a little bit hotter. After that, you drop it to 350. So let's go ahead and you'll depending on if you're doing the full loaf. If you're doing the full loaf, then you'll run about 50 to an hour, 50 minutes to an hour. And once you put in your tester, cake tester or toothpick or whatever it is, knife, once it comes out clean, that's when you know it's done. And for the mini loaves, it's 30 to 45 minutes, depending on what size your mini loaf is. Okay? So we'll come back as soon as I get it into the oven, or as soon as I'm pulling it out of the oven. So we're at the end of our 30 minutes, and as you can see, I've already put, like I said, I was doing mini loaves, and I just bought these at, I think it was Ross. They're my go-to for things that are kind of quirky. I also bought these ice trays that are cylindrical. It's weird. Anyway. So, I already filled 3 of them. All I did was cut parchment paper to fit. It was basically one long strip, and then I quartered it because there are 4 and a quarter. Get it? 4 quarters. Oh, yeah. So, I'm just finishing up putting in the rest of my batter, and I just kind of form fitted it. It's not a perfect crease, but I mean, I'm making for people who don't even care that it's what form it comes in, so you know, you do you. I'll do this. This one, so these sets are completely just what we already put together, just the chocolate chip, no extra frills. Although chocolate chips, I guess, is an extra frill. But anyway, so we'll just go ahead and put this in. I use the parchment paper because it's just an easier cleanup. I just like it. It's cleaner. I like it. Cleaner lines, cleaner everything. And I can pop them out real quick and put in another batch. Man, how about I finally start filming this and I get it all over the edges. Look at no edges here. Okay. Because you make me nervous. I know you can tell I'm shaking in my boots. So we're just going to make these all even because I have enough batter to do that. And this normally do one very large loaf, or about 6 of these minis. I just love these minis. Anyway, back when I had, so Pampered Chef used to sell this stoneware for just all in one. It used to look like this. Just stone. Imagine it's stone all in one. So I used to make that for my kids all the time before I had my last 2. And everybody would get their own. And that way nobody was fighting about, he ate all the banana bread. She took my last piece. She stole mine. He stole mine. None of that. Everybody gets their own. Just shut up. Eat your banana bread. So, so here we are. I just have to put a little more in this one. Okay. Now that they're all even, I already have the oven going. Ooh, look at that. My microwave is open with a pot in it. Ignore the pot! So the pot has fish in it. That's why it's in the microwave. It contains the smell until you go to eat it, and then you're like, oh, okay. Because my dad is, I think I've mentioned this, from Tonga, the island kingdom of Tonga. Last remaining monarchy in the South Pacific. He loves fish. Well, we love fish. But my children not so much. And you know how fish smells when you cook in the house. You know, I don't have to tell you. You know. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and put these in. Because they are a little bit mini. Like so, this is also a mini, but it's about half the size of a regular loaf. So we're into almost a quarter size of the regular loaf. So I'm gonna put them in for 6 minutes at the 425. And then I'll do the 350. I'll drop the temperature to 350 and we'll do it for another 30 minutes. At that point I will check because it's been a while since I made banana bread in this stove. You know, well, you know, you're my family, you know what happened. So anyway, after that we'll come back, see how it is, and obviously I'll show you my clean knife, except for the chocolate chips. And you definitely can tell the difference between what is banana bread batter and chocolate chip. So we'll go from there after this. Okay, here's me putting them in. Go ahead and